Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam.
All That Jam, Quick Hit. Catching up with Kris Yunker.
Well, cool. Kris, thank you for joining me. I checked and it was March of 23 when we first chatted, which feels like way longer ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know that you've got a couple cool things coming up for the start of 24, but also that you've been into some really kind of interesting projects to kind of close out 23. So why don't we start with the show that you have coming up on January 7th? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Pretty gosh darn exciting. I'm turning 40, so I decided that what better way to celebrate it than get some of my favorite musicians on the gig. So I got recently on the Spot Trio did a show at Brooklyn Bowl with George Porter and friends, and Deitch was on the gig, and so I kind of got to chat with him, and he was just like telling me to hit him up for any gig, and then I'm like, okay, this is the one. I'll hit him up for. So, I did. I hit him up, and he was down. So I got Adam Deitch on the gig, and hit up Rob Compa from Dopapod, and the BTALC horns, Brian Thomas and Alex Lee Clark. So it's like almost a vintage league showcase in a way. We're going to be playing some of their tunes, some of my tunes, and some really tasty covers that I've chosen.
Nice. Well, first, happy birthday. I'm just a couple of years ahead of you, and it's okay. It fine in case that had crossed your mind. Still hanging in there. It's funny when I saw that bill, and I think I mentioned this to you. I kind of started laughing because I'm like, wow, we've had all of those guys in one form or another on this show. And so, huge fans of everyone. And I think it's a very interesting and fun bill, kind of bringing all of them together. And I'm wondering if any of them have ever played with each other, or if this is going to be kind of an all new setup. I was trying to think about it, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if Compa's. I think he might be the wild card because the BTALC guys, I think they have a recording with Deitch on it, on one of their albums. And I'm not sure if they've played with Lettuce before, but so yeah, I think Rob might be the wild card.
Fitting for Dopapod to kind of get thrown in there and make it happen for sure.
I guess this is probably my first time officially playing with Deitch.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that's great that he happened to be in the area. And I know Brian just had a baby, so he'll be getting out and about a little bit after a month or so of newborn life, which is cool.
Yeah, pretty exciting.
I know that also, wanted to kind of talk a little bit about some of the stuff that you've been doing toward the end of this year of 2023. I've been seeing you with some bands that maybe I just didn't know that you played with. And we recently had talked to some folks from, I think it's Sugar Business as well, and they mentioned you. So, I wanted to make sure I asked about that. So, what were you doing kind of the second half of the year since we talked to you? You want to chat about anything that you had going on then?
Yeah, so I guess since I left you, I was going to go over to the Jazz Fest and play with Glenn David, and that was fun and all, but we parted ways, and it's just interesting. I'll like post something online, like a video, and I just get like hit up by so many different people to do things, and it's really like an honor and blessing. But like also it's just I end up like kind of all over the place as well. But the Sugar Business, I love those guys. That actually came to fruition from Alan Evans, because they went to record their album with him in his studio, and they're like, we need some keys and would love Kris. And so that I've been recording on a lot of their recordings lately. I guess I've done 2 sessions with them, and so it's like an album and a half of material. And they've got some shows coming up next year that they asked me to be on, so I'm gonna do that too. So that happens. I've also off and on been doing stuff with Joe Marcinic band. He came out here recently and had a couple shows, and Riley Commissar was playing with them. And interestingly enough, she's actually going to be one of the guests at my birthday show coming up. Yeah, it's a guest vocalist, along with Tony Cintron and on percussion, and Mike Omen on sax. So it's going to be a big old family affair up on the stage. What else have I been up to? Oh yeah, really cool and out of left field, but in November, the Barely Dead guys hit me up, and they were looking for a new keyboardist because Justin Lopes decided to leave. And I was just kind of in between a lot of different things. I stopped playing with the Garcia project just recently, and I decided to do a few shows with them and really hit it off. I had a lot of fun playing with them. Again, not like, it's very surprising to me. I've never expected to be playing in Grateful Dead cover bands, but for some reason it nipped me, and I'm enjoying it.
So for Barely Dead, if people aren't familiar with them, what's their kind of take on the Dead music scene? What do they do that might be their kind of perspective in on it?
High energy, I'd say. They kind of try to like go for the higher energy of like the Primal Dead, but not necessarily play like the Primal Dead, more of just like bringing it into today, and everybody just kind of does their own take on it. But they try to keep the energy up high and grooving dance party kind of vibe. And I've heard a lot of their fans kind of say that they're similar to J-Rad, or Joe Russo's Almost Dead. So it's more of that in that vein. And which is exciting for me because I just kind of get to do whatever I want to do on the music. Add my flavor of funk style to the whole thing. So
oh yeah, nice. Yeah, so I was actually thinking as you were talking, I would imagine over time, as all that you do kind of gets out there, that you would be someone that people would reach out to see, if you're available for various types of projects. Do you still enjoy, whether it's short or long term, but those kind of engagements with bands where it's kind of being brought into something that's kind of already, in progress, maybe, versus starting something, brand new? Does that still work for you? Because I remember when we talked in March, we talked for a while about that, just that nature of either you putting together your own collectives like you're going to do in January, or joining something, which is kind of I think it's a really neat way to be able to experience a lot of different, artists and collaborations. But like, what are you getting out of it these days? Is it still something that you enjoy?
I do enjoy it. I especially enjoy it if I've got something else that I'm working on that I call my own, I guess, or I can call my own with other people. But I do enjoy the aspect of, especially with Barely Dead, because they have their own following already, and the Grateful Dead already has their own following. So you just get to meet a lot of different people. I get to meet a lot of different people, fans of music, that way, and connect with them in a way that's like personal, because they all have this like strong connection with the Grateful Dead, and it really makes them so happy and for me, that's the best part of music that you can obtain, is just a room full of people that are happy and blissed out and having a good time. That's why we all do it. That's why everybody goes to shows. And so, just to be a natural part of that, um, I I like that a lot, that aspect of it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like the Funk Night series that you've been doing, do you think you're going to continue that into next year? Do you have any plans to either change that up or, do anything in addition that would be kind of on a recurring basis?
Yeah, that's gonna keep happening. I just talked with Robin Johnson, the owner there, about that. I did a tour with the Sweetback Sisters, and we played there for their Christmas special. Um, and yeah, we did really well in the last one, having Adrian from Kung Fu and Twiddle play with us, Adrian Tramontano. And yeah, I'm gonna keep it still like once a month. That seems to kind of work with my schedule. Like trying to do weekly is a pretty strong commitment. But yeah, I just hope to like keep getting like more and more awesome artists rolling through with that throughout this next year.
Very cool. I was curious to know, so when you're on stage, and this is something that we've been talking to a lot of people about, like the improv factor of, for a lot of bands that have played together for a number of years, they kind of begin to read each other's tells, right? The signs of what they're going to be doing, or kind of have that unspoken language. How do you handle that when you're playing, for instance, on the 7th? You're going to be with a group of people, some of whom have played together, some haven't. Who knows if that's been live or in, a jam setting like you're going to be in. Do you consider yourself kind of the person that's kind of orchestrating those moments? Do you just let it happen? How does that tend to work when you're playing with so many different people that have, all these different styles of how they would improvise?
Well, I try to get people together that I think would work really well together. And also, like in this case, like Rob Compa, like playing with these guys. I'm pretty sure he hasn't before. So like getting a new mix of like how like different people would work together. And there's a little bit of like throwing caution to the wind with it. We're like, oh, what's going to happen with this? Which adds a whole other excitement level to the whole thing that I think translates to the audience as well, but as the musicians. But like every time I do it, like just like I get the song lists together and send them out to everybody, and we're all chomping on them. But it always just like comes together, and I guess yes, I am orchestrating it in that way, in the sense of like bringing everybody together and like saying like how we're going to go through the songs and everything. But usually it just ends up being like what everybody has to put to the table after that, and it ends up being something new each time, which is really exciting. I think especially for like the monthly Funk Night thing.
Yeah, I'd seen some video not that long ago. It was one of the Funk Nights. And the reason I asked that question is because at one point in the video, it's Elise and Colin, and they're kind of looking your way. You know what I mean? Like they're doing their thing, but they're kind of looking your way. And you could see, maybe there's some little signals or cues. And I was like, wow, that's a really interesting thing, because I would imagine, like you said, that keeps it super fresh. And nothing against bands that have been together, for decades. But I would imagine that it requires kind of a different level of engagement to be on stage like that.
Yeah, well, a lot of these that I've been doing, I've usually played with the people in the band at least once, if not a handful of times. Like Colin and I have done a lot of gigs together, so we've developed our own language. And the horn players I've played with on a number of gigs, especially Mike Oman. We've done a lot of gigs together. I'm on one of his albums that he recorded. So we have our own rapport together, and I've been doing a lot of shows with Elise over the last year or two with like different musicians. So that's another interesting part of it, is like I have these different relationships with people, and they probably have like had different relationships with some of the other people. And in some cases, a lot of the musicians that I get together had never met before, which is really exciting to see. But we all come together on like different common threads that are noticeable and tangible once we start playing. I mean, of course, like the common thread is music and our love of funk tunes and all that. But yeah.
If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.